This episode of Under the Gun is brought to you by Anderson Power Services. They sell and install residential, commercial, and industrial Generac generators. For all of your standby power needs, contact Anderson Power Services locally in Valdosta, Georgia. If you'd like to contact them, you can call 229 247 6630 or visit them on the web at www.andersonpowerservices.com. Welcome to Under the Gun. I'm Larry Lockwood. I've been a tattoo artist in South Georgia for over 10 years now, and I've made the choice to start a podcast. The goal of the podcast is to spread information, to have fun, and just talk to regular people that are in jobs and careers that I've found interesting after my 10 years of sitting and having great conversations with people. All right. Today I'm speaking with Tommy Wyatt and Michael Vining. They are both sergeants in the National Guard and currently are helping support infection control at nursing homes, assisting with operations at specimen collection points, and providing support teams at hospitals and food banks all over Georgia. And they're also training many personnel in infection control. All right, I'm here with Michael Vining and Tommy Wyatt. Do you guys want to start off by maybe giving me like a brief intro on each one of you? Just whoever wants to start is fine.
Yeah, I'm Saul Wyatt. I'm with the Delta Company 2121 Infantry Division here in Valdosta, Georgia. I've been in the National Guard probably 15 years now. Yeah, got a deployment under my belt. You know, right now I'm an active team leader for infection control teams. We're doing a lot of facility cleaning and stuff like that, trying to combat the COVID-19 spread.
I'm Michael Vining. I've been with the Georgia National Guard for about 4 years. I've been deployed to Afghanistan myself. Right now, I'm just an active team leader and subject matter expert for Delta Company 2121 here in Valdosta. And we're actively fighting COVID-19, doing infection control teams.
So a few weeks ago, we were in the middle of a tattoo, and me and Michael were in the middle of a tattoo, and we found out that apparently we couldn't do it anymore. So that was pretty weird.
Yeah.
How far did we get into that?
We were probably about an hour into the tattoo when it came out.
Yeah. What was that one?
That was my hands coming into the stairway.
Oh yeah. We were continuing on finishing up that arm, right?
Yes.
You do you have any tattoos?
Yeah, I got a couple. Like I said earlier, had a few done. Been out of the game for a little bit. I'm started getting back into it.
Nice. Before we start, can we this will probably be going to some people that don't know as much about the military and stuff like that. So maybe if you guys want to do like a quick summary of how ranks are, maybe if that comes in the conversation later, and who you guys are and what you guys are doing in y'all's roles each.
Well, I'm just like an active team leader for the infection control teams. So it starts off, the rank structure goes, we call them a fuzzy, but it's E1. Then it goes E2 private, E3 PFC, E4 is a specialist, E5 is a sergeant, E6 is a staff sergeant, E7 is a sergeant first class, E8 is a master sergeant, and E8 is also first sergeant, and then E9 is sergeant major.
Okay.
And like as of right now, I'm an E5. I'm an NCOIC of a few teams, and Specialist Vining here he's an active team leader, so he's got like 4 guys under him.
Mhm.
But I've got 3 teams of 5 guys total under me, and then I've got a boss as a staff sergeant, and so on and so forth. So keep moving up. So he's in control of his guys, and I'm in control of him and 2 others, basically.
Okay.
So that's how that works.
What were each of you doing prior to this? Like, were you a part of something else?
In relation to the military?
Yes.
All right. So we're what we call a light infantry unit. We do a lot of gunnery and shooting maneuvers and this that, and other. Specialist Vining is actually in my platoon, so he's one of my soldiers, organically as well. So we were getting prepared to do gunnery skills testing. So all of our soldiers, we have to be proficient in their weapons, they have to be able to shoot, move, and communicate. And we were in preparation for a big training exercise that was supposed to happen, I think, next month. But obviously all that got shut down because of this. But organically, Specialist Vining is one of my soldiers, and I think you're actually in my truck, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
Yeah. So
Oh,
we've worked together in the past, and it works out now.
do you know how many other teams are in Georgia?
As in infection control teams
Yes.
as the COVID. So there's a total of 6 areas or districts, as they say, and each area or district has got anywhere between 3 and 5 teams. Some are as small as 3 teams. I know there's a unit out of Cordell. I think they've only got 3 teams, but they've got a smaller area to cover.
Hmm.
There are 5 with us.
Um, it'd be
Started out as
correct.
seven, and then they consolidated down. Redistroing soldiers for the mission.
Hmm.
We've got some guys doing testing sites. And I think right now we've got a total of 3 active in infection control teams, and everybody else has kind of been distro doing some other things.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So, so there's a total of a little over 1,000 soldiers activated right now in the Georgia Army National Guard doing this. So,
Okay. Do you know if there are any other states doing something like this?
well, we come to find out, 2 days ago I sent you that video.
Yeah, about
There's 10 other states adopting this program that Georgia has started. We've been doing it for roughly 6 weeks now, so we've kind of hammered out all the issues and got the plan fine tuned. And now there are 10 other states that are adopting RSOP.
Yeah, that kind of seems to tie into an idea that I heard on a podcast. There was a general in the Army and a former officer in the Navy SEALs who worked together in the mid 2000s to defeat Al Qaeda. And they were using an idea of distributed forces to mobilize troops in hotspots. And they liken that to how we should be battling COVID-19.
That what you're referring to is what we call coin op, is counterinsurgency operations,
Mm.
and that's what we did in 2009 and 2010. We were a part of coin op slash police mentor teams, so we were there teaching the Afghan soldiers and the Afghan police how to do counterinsurgency operations.
Okay.
Break them down into smaller teams, get them in the public, and start learning how the public, and if there's any issues, to be able to understand and relate and send that back up and adapt and move on. So,
Okay. So I guess the difference here would be there you used all kinds of forces, not just American as well, right?
exactly.
Okay.
Back then, we had the Italians, the Germans. I mean, there was
Hmm.
anybody in the UN was in there along with the Afghani soldiers. So it's kind of like now. Now we've got a team in Albany that's doing testing. They're using doctors and nurses and
Army medics.
army medics. I mean, they're incorporating the civilian side with the military side in order to to fight the fight, basically.
Okay. So it is pretty similar actually. Do you know if something like this specific thing existed before for like going to these areas and cleaning and other like stuff like that?
Negative.
I'll let you take that one.
When we got the orders to come on to the state activation, we kind of, I want to say, scrambled, and we sent people to another area to get trained to
Mhm.
become subject matter experts. And as soon as we got off of that, we were literally writing the SOPs and guidelines on how to do this as we went along. Me and another NCO had come and had to stay up and write SOPs and task conditions and standards, send it to Georgia, and then actually have Georgia, the state of Georgia, write off on saying that's how it should be done. And then they pushed out those SOPs and conditions and standards to the other units and said, this is what you guys are going to do. This is how you're going to do it. And we want it done now. And that's pretty much what happened.
So how long did you get to prepare for that?
24 hours, give or take.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah, it was
It was basically, we got called out. I went to the class. We learned everything we needed to learn about the chemicals, the solutions, COVID-19, the proper PPE that we needed to wear during this, how to put it on, how to take it off. And then we came back, me and a few other soldiers, and we taught the entire company on how to do this and how to do, which is to be appropriate ways to take on and off your PPE and the solutions on how to mix them and use them correctly. And then that night, me and another NCO had actually wrote how to, like, on paper, how to do it, and then send it to who we needed to send it to. And then after that, within the next 2 days, we had our sites and we were learning as we went.
When you go to a site, uh, what is the situation like whenever you get there?
Well, it just depends on the site.
Hmm.
So I'm not going to name any names, but there have been some sites that, very unorganized and we've had to adjust on the fly. You know, our biggest concern when we get there is the safety of our soldiers and the safety of the staff. So one of the questions we ask is, do you have any cases on ground? And if there are cases on ground, we've got to take cautionary measures to make sure that the soldiers and the staff, while we're on ground, aren't in contact with those particular patients. We don't want it spreading. We're trying to contain it.
Yeah.
And there are some sites when we go to, they've already got these patients quarantined. They're ready to go. We hit one site, and I got to give Woody a shout out right here. Fellowship Nursing Home right outside of town. A gentleman by the name of Woody. He was on top of it. He had the whole wing quarantine. He turned off the central heating and air, and he put individual winning units in these rooms. I mean, he was just prepared for it. In some of these sites, they just don't know how to deal with it,
Hmm.
and it just depends. Some of our biggest obstacles, I'm not going to necessarily say it's the overall building itself. It's the staff, because they're worried that we're bringing it in,
Oh, gotcha.
and it's a legit concern.
Hmm.
They don't know how we're operating. They don't know what we're doing. And that's our biggest obstacle is public relations.
Yeah, for some people, it reminds them of like ET, and they're like, "What's going to happen?" But
Absolutely.
You know,
Different variables play into a lot of factors there.
you
yeah,
want
for
to
sure.
tell the story about Pelham?
Ah, yeah. So we went to Pelham, and there was a nursing home that was in Pelham when we did our class, and this is when so we have foggers, and we can get into that a little later on, that actually come in and pretty much fog the entire area and gets rid of the virus.
Hmm.
So when we first initially had started this, we would fog the rooms, but when we went to the class, we weren't allowed to do that anymore because we came in and well, not me, but they came in full PPE with a fogger and a fogging machine, and there was actually somebody who was an Auschwitz survivor,
Oh,
and she seen a bunch of military guys coming in, gassing her room up, and it
oh, yeah.
wasn't a very pretty sight.
You have to change things and learn things, and that was
The next day, CDC was like, you know what, we're not doing this anymore. So yeah.
so,
So, how did it change after that?
Now we can only fog common areas and like bathrooms, a room like this that isn't occupied by anybody. Um, but if it's an individual room, we have to send a team in and they just spray and they wipe down all the commonly hard served touched areas,
Hmm.
spray the walls and make sure that they get everything inside the room clean, but they cannot fog it because there's an actual patient inside the room.
Gotcha.
So it's only hallways, common areas, lobbies, bathrooms, dining rooms that we can actually fog. All the individual patient rooms are going to be sprayed and wiped.
So this is actually a pretty good bit different than what you guys are used to doing, right? Like, what do you think about this shift in going from what you were doing to what you're doing now?
but to be honest with you, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. At first we didn't see the principle in it, the purpose.
Hmm.
And after doing this for 5 or 6 weeks and watching the numbers kind of stabilize, we realized that we're actually doing some good. At
Yeah.
first, it's like, yeah, this is bullshit. I don't want to be in here wiping down. I'm not a janitor, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But after doing it for a little while and seeing the appreciation from some of the sites, you got so many sites there. What was it? Fitzgerald, the mayor showed up and fed us
Yep.
lunch and
Fed
stuff
us
like.
lunch, gave us nice burgers, and
Yeah.
came out there, gave us water. They got a cake for us at one of them.
Yeah, so I mean, just seeing the appreciation from them, it changed our whole perspective of it. So they actually want us there. And, at first it was like these people aren't going to want us walking around their building with sprayers and foggers and this. And then now it's they understand that we're just trying to help and they appreciate us now. I mean,
Hmm.
it was a learning curve for everybody, but the public, the military, everybody. It didn't. It was a big swing for everybody. So now it's stabilized and, honestly, we like going to them now,
Hmm.
just because you never know who you're going to meet, what's going on. And the guys, they like helping people. And it just changed our whole mentality and perspective of it because we're infantry soldiers. We like to kick indoors, shoot guns, and stuff. Another. Now you got us knocking on the doors. How
Yeah.
are you doing today, ma'am or sir? It's just
That's actually what I was referring to. It's like, man, you're used to kicking indoors,
yeah,
but now you're like,
Yeah.
just be like, hey, can
yeah,
I'm here to
Are
go.
we allowed in?
Yeah.
knocking on doors, and these guys just don't knock on doors. But it changed the perspective. It's another skill for these guys to take home now.
Oh yeah, for sure. I met some guys the other day talking. They were talking to me about getting some tattoos and stuff, and they were also in the National Guard. So I guess this could bring up how you guys station
Hmm.
people in different areas. So like I asked them if they were, hanging out around town, um, and they were like, "Yeah, how do you know?" Like because they're not from. I think they're from Atlanta.
Yeah, the guys that you're referring to, we got attached with four other teams. Yeah,
Correct.
four other teams from North Georgia because they were in a smaller area, and we had 45 sites.
Yeah,
It was
45 sites. So we
it
had a
was
kid.
roughly 45, give or take. So they got sent down here to us. We've got guys from North Georgia that
Mhm.
come down to work with us, and that was the thing about being in the National Guard. They're so diverse. They're flexible. We've got an intel unit. Yeah, the intel guys, and then we've got another infantry company that came down with us. So, and they're actually stationed out of North Georgia.
So what was it like the first time you put on that suit?
We had two different suits when we first came. We had white Tyvek suits, and we love those things.
Yeah.
Okay,
Now,
now we love them. When we first had them, we didn't, but now we have these brown suits that are hotter than Hades.
Yeah.
When you go inside, and very stiff, very uncomfortable. They say one size fits all, but you know that it's not true. Not everybody wears extra large. So when we get inside of them, it takes us about 10 to 15 minutes to get all prepared um, with all our PPE that we have to wear. And when we get inside, the HVAC system has to be shut off for the fogging and whatnot. So it gets very hot inside of these suits. Absolutely.
and unfortunately for Special Vonnie here, he's on the fogging team, so he's a fogger, and then he's got to come back out and get his team and go back in.
Oh yeah.
So it's twice as bad for him. So we try to mitigate that as a lot as we can. Like today,
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's guys that are doing the fogging. It's harder on them. And these suits, just to give you guys an idea, or you an idea of what the suit is like, it's made out of a tarp material. So it's like taking a tarp and wrapping around you and walking around a building with no air conditioner on for an hour.
Oh yeah.
And so like when we get on site, we have all the team leaders get involved, and all the team leaders have to do a site recon. They go and do a leadership recon. They figure out how the layout of the building is. They figure out which way they're going to be able to clean the site from the best way possible to achieve the results that they need. So when we go inside, we first get there, we'll go and do a leaders recon. I'll come back out. I'll suit up. I'll get ready. I'll go inside with another soldier, and we'll go in. We'll fog the building. Takes us anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how big the building is. And then we come back out, and then after a 30-minute wait time, we go right back in. So by the time we decon our suits, get deconned ourselves, get prepared, we're almost just now putting the suits right back on, and then and going right back inside. So we try to mitigate it as much as we can to where other teams, like when we come out and we fog, another team goes in instead of mine, or whichever one we feel would be better for that day.
So what's the longest amount of time you spent in that suit?
3 hours. I
Yeah.
spent 3 hours inside of a suit. We went in. I did a. We did a leadership recon. I went inside, did all that, came back out, fogged. The leadership recon actually took probably about 30 to 40 minutes. Came back out, we fogged. Took about an hour to fog this building, and then my team went right in, and then we went and we cleaned and went inside the rooms and cleaned, and it was about an hour. We do about an hour rotation cycles,
Hmm.
so it was right at about 3 hours.
What all has changed, if anything, about the military or the way you guys work within it since you started?
Nothing
Yeah,
really. I
nothing.
mean, we operate pretty much the same way. It's just now we're not attacking. We're not doing any infantry operations. We're the command and control is still the same. The movements and the structure's still there. The discipline's still there. So
Chain of command, everything.
all that's still there. It's just the mission itself is a little different than what
Mhm.
we're normally doing. So really and truly, honestly, I mean, I wouldn't say a whole lot's changed other than just the overall mission.
Just the mission and
Yeah,
just a mission set and SOP on how to do it.
yeah.
That's about it.
Is there anything that regular people should be doing or can do to help you guys or to relieve some pressure from you guys?
Just try to keep doing what they're doing now, washing their hands. Don't try to go out into, public affairs and getting close to everybody. And, like I say, the state may have opened back up, but, the danger still could be there. Just
Mhm.
to be precautious and not go out and into public affairs to where, you're just going out to go out. If you need essentials, then that's one thing. But just to go out, just to be out, you should probably, hold off on that until
Mhm.
you see exactly how everything plays out.
And I'm sure you'll agree with this. Like some of the biggest things, people run out and buy a bunch of unnecessary things. I mean, if you're buying household chemicals to help mitigate this at home or your work, make sure the chemicals you're buying are antibacterial, antiviral, and stuff like.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying go in and bleach your house, but
Mhm.
make sure you're using the right product. Make sure it's antiviral because that's some of the biggest things that we've run into. We go to some sites and they're mopping the floor with the solution. It's not antiviral, so
Mhm.
you're not really. And that's our job to work with them on site too. Hey, you need to change that up, like Quad Pro or Nutramax and some of these other chemicals that we're using are very effective. So the biggest piece at home is just make sure you're using a product that's going to work.
Yeah.
Don't waste your money on something that's not going to work.
Is there anything you guys wanted to talk about specifically as far as like anything people should know about the National Guard itself?
I think the biggest piece, and I've run into it for a while now, especially where Michael's starting to see it now. It's just the biggest misconception between us and active duty. I know there was a travel ban put on all military. He was supposed to stop movements, this, that, and other. And we actually got called up to go take care of this. Everybody in the National Guard, everybody has got a secondary skill, as we call it. Like myself, I'm an automotive technician. Michael's he's a police officer. You know, we've got construction workers. We've got, it's just everybody's got a secondary skill, and they can contribute to the overall mission. And we started this. We didn't have a clue what was going on. We didn't have PPE. We've got a soldier that works over at Union Tank Car, and he cleans inside of tanks all day long. And he actually called his work, and they donated gloves and suits and stuff like that. So everybody's got outside contacts, and that's secondary skill, and they bring something to the table. They're just not a soldier filling a slot, just to do what they're being told to do. They actually have input and say, hey, I can help you with this or hey, I've got this contact that can help us, that kind of thing. Everybody in the National Guard brings something different to the table than just a soldier skill.
Absolutely. The National Guard also not only myself and Tommy, we've both been deployed before. We've both been overseas. So the National Guard and active duty, we differ, but we also are the same in a lot of different aspects. When we go overseas to Afghanistan, it's not just our unit in Afghanistan. We all just see one color when we're over there. It's all army, it's all military, it's all the same. So we don't differentiate between active duty and National Guard. When you get overseas, it's just all one
Oh
brotherhood.
yeah.
Um, but when we get back stateside, we may pick and fight, but the love is still there when you go overseas. That's absolutely 100%.
Yeah, I got you. So do you guys like movies?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You watch many? I had like a bonus question or a few, but if you had to choose one movie that you would most like to see again for the first time, what do you think it would be?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Gone in 60 seconds. I'm a car guy.
I would figure you'd say something like that.
I'm a car guy. Gone in 60 seconds.
That would
My,
be a good one for the first time again because
Both of them. Watch the first one was filmed like early 80s. It was actually a low budget movie that was filmed on the weekends because they could get the permits to shut streets down.
oh man, that I haven't seen the original, I
Yeah,
guess,
watch
but
watch the original one.
yeah, the Nick Cage one was actually pretty
Oh
good
yeah.
too. A lot of really cool cars.
Watch the first one and then watch the second one. They run hand in hand. A lot of your sequels or copies of the movie, they change a lot of things. But if I had to watch them again for the first time, it'd be those two movies.
Nice.
I probably have to say Baby Driver. You ever seen that?
Oh, dude,
That's a
did I
yeah.
show you that one?
Yeah, we watched it in your studio.
Oh,
That was
nice.
that
Yeah.
was a great movie. I actually would Have you ever seen that, Tommy?
No, I haven't.
Oh man, it's good.
It's a great movie. It's about a guy that he owes some people money. He has to rob some banks and whatnot, but he's a driver,
Mhm.
and he's a badass driver, man. You probably
Hmm.
really like it.
Yeah, he's a
I'll
really
check
good
that out.
driver. And the whole movie is kind of like synced to music too. So like
Hmm.
the windshield wipers are going and it's like to the beat of the music, and then
Yeah,
somebody puts down a coffee cup and like stack of books and it's like also to the beat of the music. The whole movie is like
That's pretty cool.
based around music.
he's
So
they call him baby driver because he's a kid.
Remind me about that later, and I'll check that out.
He's a
yeah,
kid, and he has to drive to music. So like they're robbing a bank, and he's literally sitting outside trying not to listen to the gunshots. And when he gets in the car, they tell him to go, and he just immediately goes to the beat.
Let's check that out.
so is there a band you couldn't live without as a teen?
Oh man, that was only like 5 years ago for me.
Oh,
Yeah, you know. Um, Mine would probably have to be like Breaking Benjamin. Yeah, Breaking Benjamin would probably be mine.
Yeah, I would have to say it's a toss up between like Pearl Jam and Matchbox 20. I'm a little bit older than you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit, you
Yeah, a
know.
little bit, so.
yeah, those both sound great to me at least.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a big Pearl Jam fan.
Well, I guess that's pretty much it. We appreciate what you guys are doing, and I'm glad you guys came to sit with me.
Absolutely, man.
Um,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we appreciate the invite. We're
Yeah,
glad
yeah.
that people are actually interested in what we're doing. So
And
we
get the word
appreciate
out in Valdosta, make sure that they know we're out here doing some good, trying to shine a little bit of light on it. It's absolutely a great way to do that.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like it should feel like a good like amount of security knowing that there's this many people mobilized in Georgia just for this specific thing, you know? Like
Right.
that should tell people that at least we're doing the right thing as far as like trying to mitigate as much as possible.
Yeah, and we were one of the first states to do it, and like we spoke about earlier, we learned it on the fly, and just the fact that there are other states now adopting it and going with it, and they see that the good we're doing, it's just, I mean, it's a good feeling.
Absolutely, absolutely,
All right. Well, it was a pleasure having you guys here and thank you for coming.
absolutely. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
All right. Well, that was episode 2 of Under the Gun. It was my first episode that I really ever recorded with a guest on. So there was a lot of learning I had to do and some interesting challenges to overcome. And overall, I think it went really well. I definitely can't wait to do this again soon. I know I have another guest that I had talked to before, and hopefully I'll have him on soon and be able to record that as quickly as possible. But please bear with me when I'm posting these because sometimes it takes a little bit longer than I may have thought to either edit them or maybe to work out some kinks before recording and or schedule people to come on. I should also mention that I have a website. It is www.underthegun.com. You can go there if you'd like to subscribe to a mailing list. And also, you can listen to any episode of the podcast on my website and support me on Patreon if you'd like. Patreon is a website that you can donate monthly to people that you're liking their content or you'd like to hear more from, or just to support them because you think they're doing good. But thank you for listening to this episode of Under the Gun, and I hope to see you again soon.